Happy spooky season for Doodle Crew. I'm so happy to be back. We have been on a slight away time, but I'm happy. We're back, we're here, and we're gonna draw stuff like we usually do. It has already been a very exciting morning of technical difficulties, so the fact that we're here at all is really the gift. So we are happy we are here. We are going to be focusing today on lesser known animation studios. So this was, I think I pitched it as anybody that's not Disney, Pixar, or Studio Ghibli. And other than that, it's kind of free reign. So I am very excited. You cannot see her, but she's here. We have a brand new Doodle Crew member, but we are going to do the thing we usually do. We're going to go around, introduce everybody, tell people where they can find you, and what studio you're talking about. So Vic, I'm going to go to you first. You're in the first spot, so you get to go.
Hello, I'm Vic Idstar Hill, or just Vic Idstar. I'm at Idstar most places across the internet. I'm a comic artist, illustrator. I dabble in some animation. I have some projects going on as well. At any given moment, I have too many hobbies. My main thing is that I make a comic called Of Destiny and Dragoons that you can read at dragoons.com. I do live stream work on that comic from time to time on Twitch, so you can follow me here as well if you want to tune in for chill vibes and art. Today, the studio I am focusing on is Fortiche, which is French animation studio, and I'm cheating by it being lesser known because the studio might be lesser known, but its most famous show is currently just about to release its second season on Netflix, which is quite very well known. Which they make arcade basically.
Yeah.
So I'm right in the line of lesser known.
No, I love it. And I think it's very cool because if you ask people, are they familiar with Arcane, the show? The resounding answer, I think, is yes. Do people know that it's characters from League of Legends or the studio that made it? I don't think as much. League of Legends possibly, but for my non-artsy friends, I don't think any of them would have any idea who is making that. So like, no, I think it fits, and I'm very excited. Yeah. All right. Maegan, heading to you. Hello.
Hello and happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
So you could find me across the web on Instagram and everything as Megan C Creates. And I feel a little bad about what I picked because I tried to pick something obscure, but in picking something a little obscure vintage, I actually discovered that this animation studio is a little well known. It's Toei Animation. Toei, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it.
I always said Toei, so.
Toei.
Yep.
And yeah, so I'm doing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from, the 80s. So they apparently did the first season, the animation for the first season, and I didn't know until I started sketching. So oops.
Heck yeah. No, I like it. I have a soft spot for Toei, but once again, I don't know if you were not super into anime at a very specific time. I don't know that you would know that studio. Oh no, we lost. So no, I'm excited. Also, I'm just happy for Turtles. And once again, heaven forbid we do characters that people are actually familiar with. No.
It was the studio, not the characters.
Exactly.
That was supposed to be obscure.
Yeah.
So
no, it qualifies. I could have absolutely, tried to find one of the studios that used to produce the like religious cartoons, but I wasn't that committed. I didn't go that far. So I will admit, even though you could not see her in person, we have unfortunately lost one of our members. So I'm going to circle back to her when she comes back. It's very spooky and mysterious. I kind of like it, actually. It's very, very Halloween. So jump to me. I'm Swan. You can find me all across the internet at a Swan named Emily. I make art. I stream. I do many things. If you like stickers, I love making stickers. Oh, I guess that's not my thing. I guess it's Emily. I should know my own tags. I don't. But yeah, I have a Patreon where you can support and get custom made stickers as well as stickers mailed to you. And I also have an Etsy if you would like to do that. I'm on a bunch of podcasts. You can listen to me read Animorphs over on Animorphs Anonymous. You can listen to me talk about other books on Surprise Attack Book Club. You can listen to me sometimes chat with my friends over on In Addition. Also, once a month, you can find me doing art over on twitch.tv/CZDrop for the Art Corner. So we do have one of those coming up this month for Halloween stuff too. So I also picked something that is, I think, pretty well known, but maybe not a studio that's known by name. So I'm going to do Coraline from Laika Studio. So yes, I love Coraline. Having gone to school for animation, have never once done stop motion or claymation because it terrifies me, and I think it's absolute sorcery that makes no sense. So it is very fun to me to get this close to it by just drawing the fun characters. So yeah, they have a lot of amazing stuff, and I didn't realize. I think Coraline is actually currently being like re-released in theaters or coming back out again, redone. Oh no, Frozen. So yeah. I feel like today is just gonna the ghosts are here, y'all. The ghosts have completely taken over the stream. We're just gonna try. For 2 hours we're gonna try, and then we'll leave the ghosts and go back to our lives.
Can you still hear me at all?
I sure can. Yep.
Yes.
Oh, okay. We'll take that then. Well, in lieu of a webcam, here I am.
Aw.
Still here.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Too
full on
funny.
avatar. It's awesome.
It's so perfect.
Thanks.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Why
Okay.
technology? Why?
Seriously. I feel like yours was feeling left out, Vic, where it's like, but I wanna have tech issues too.
Yeah.
Is for me?
I want to be part of this.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Bless you.
Too funny.
But yeah, I'm giving up on the webcam. It's just not having it.
That's okay. That's okay. We got a little taste. People have to come back and watch other episodes for more. Oh my goodness.
Just maintain the air of mystery about what I really look like.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So I will admit, and I am very shameful for this, Vic. I still have not watched any Arcane yet, but I very, very much want to, especially
so
with
good.
it getting more coming out. Oh. Let's see. Maybe. Hello.
Hello, friends.
Yay! The ghosts. Yay!
So my computer is struggling.
Oh,
So I am now on the call as if I am on a conference call, holding the phone up to my face.
Oh no!
Welcome back
That's
to
dedication.
2014.
Hey, look, let it never be said that I am not here out of love for all of you.
Oh, I love it so much. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
And no, I'm sorry. I'm the one who, like, literally, it's been restarting for the past 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm just hanging out, you guys. I'm just here to make commentary and hang out now.
Well, hey, since we've got that, and I would love to shout you out more because I think you're amazing, and it is a shame and a crime that people cannot see your lovely face. But who are you? Where can people find you? How do we know you? All of these wonderful. Let's just talk about you. I want to talk about you some.
Ah, yes, my favorite topic myself. So, hi everybody. My name is Alex. I am the GM of the narrative play podcast Quid Pro Roll, which started as a very serious story about dragons, and then my players happened. I also run 2 comic book shops in Richmond, Virginia. One is Alpha Comics and Games. The other is Richmond Comics. And those are, between the show and the store, those are the only things I ever have going on at any one point.
That's a lot of really rad things. So
I mean, look, I'm not mad in the slightest, but like, let's not pretend I'm doing anything else. And you all would have seen it if my computer was not a traitorous monster. But the animation studio that I chose was my childhood favorite, Rankin Bass.
yeah, let's go.
Nice.
And your girl drawing Lady Amalthea of the Last Unicorn fame.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sad that Kia has been crazy busy, so we've not been able to have her back on seasons. But Kia, one of our other artists, is a humongous Last Unicorn fan, so we'll definitely have to share your art afterwards because she will love that.
I was super excited. I got to do a while back. I got to do the unicorn block on the Horse Girl
Yeah. Also, shout out to Horse Girls podcast that we love. Alex and Jenna and Tim have all been on episodes here. Oh no, we lost her again. Poor Alex. Oh my gosh.
This is
Yes,
going
we
great.
did. We did a whole Doodle Crew episode, which was the Horse Girls. So yeah, that was very, very fun. We love it. I think the best thing that Tim has discovered as the non-horse person associated with all of this is that pretty much everybody is a horse girl except for him, and he didn't know that, and that was delightful to me as someone who did grow up with horses. And he's like, is it just everybody? Did everybody just do this? I was like, yeah, kind of. But yeah. Hello. Oh boy. Jazriel?
I think I'm probably with Tim in the not being a horse girl thing. I'm actually low-key afraid of them.
That's fair. I feel like a healthy appreciation for them is not a bad thing. The ones that I
They're
grew up with were,
terrifying.
yeah, they were Percherons. They weighed 1 ton each, which is 2,000 pounds, which is a lot. And so, you know, getting stepped on or crashed into by, not the most fun. But they are, despite their size, they are very much dog coded. They have such like friendly personalities and just like want to be your buddy. And one of the ones that I had growing up, a mare, loved my dad and would just like lean her head over and just like rested on his shoulder and just follow him around. So they are big sweethearts. But yeah, no, just from the outset, they're terrifying. And it was a very cool thing for me, in like growing up with them and then kind of because I wasn't super into military history, I can't say that I still am, but getting into learning about the cavalry and the idea of having like thousands of horses charging at you and the physical response that you would get from that, like the pounding of the hooves and the shaking of the ground, like that's a genuine, yeah, I could understand why that would be terrifying coming at you. So very cool. Also, thanks, Birdman. Thanks for the subscribe. And Crafty Motato, thank you. Also, Vic, I can see your face again.
Yeah, I got it working.
Awesome.
For anybody who's new and joining us, we have been completely possessed by ghosts. Every single one of us having a fun technical issue, so hang with us. We're gonna do the best we can. Oh my gosh, we have a face, we have a thing. Holy butts. We did
It's working? Is it
It's
working?
working.
Hooray!
Look, there's a real Alex.
Hello, friends! I exist and function.
Oh my gosh. Yay!
And yeah, so there's the drawing I was talking about that I did.
Yay!
So anyway, how about them Lakers? Anybody got any strong feelings about that big old sports game? That
Nope.
I totally.
I have no sports feelings currently. It is going to be hockey-ish season soon, which is a thing I enjoy, but
That was going to be the thing I asked next. Like, I don't even know what sports are happening at any one time.
well, I feel like
Some.
as someone who is not huge into it, the seasons seem to go much longer, and they just constantly seem to be happening. So
I mean, I don't know. I run a Dungeons and Dragons podcast and a couple of comic book stores. I am not the target demographic for like professional sports games.
yeah, hey Birdman, you know sports things. What should we be watching right now? Isn't the World Series happening, or did that finish? I don't know. I don't sport much anymore. I will watch it if it's on. I don't really care.
Sports.
I don't sports. I used to play sports. I enjoyed playing them. Watching them was never as much fun. I won the local fantasy football tournament a couple of times, which I thought was very funny because I picked my players based on how much their last names made me giggle. But you know.
Okay, who are some standouts? Give me some standout names.
I mean, the number of woodcocks that exist in the NFL is substantial. And I was like, well, that's just fun. How many of them can I get on one team?
So basically, you used the Spaceball principle when picking out your fantasy football team. Everybody's named Apple.
Yep. Yep. And we love
Perfection.
it.
I feel like we're gonna get like a bunch of comments like, well, I like all these things and I'm into these. I am into sports as well. And it's like, yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Well,
I'm certain
like,
that works for you.
I am happy. I am always happy that, the amount of joy that I've seen people at sports games get from cosplaying their favorite players, like, I love that. I love that for them. It is a happy thing. You should find joy in this crazy, hellish world that we live in. So.
Yeah, that was the thing that got me. Like, I enjoy going to games like with my dad and stuff. Like, I think that that's a fun experience. But I don't understand what's happening unless my dad is regularly leaning over and explaining things to me. Which is doubly funny because the first panel I ever got to do at like a big boy convention, like the first time that I was ever standing in front of people, it's like, all right, this is like a serious con. My dad snuck into the con so that he could see my panel.
I love that so much. That's amazing. Ugh.
I run up to him and I do like how did I do? Like, how do you think I did? And he goes, well, I had no idea what you were talking about, but everybody was nodding. So it seems like you did a great job. The panel was Help My Game is on Fire.
Amazing. No,
which ends up always becoming Dungeons and Dragons and Dear Abby.
Yeah.
My laptop just popped up with a message saying that it's finished its security scan, and that might be why it was falling over. It's like, oh, are you doing something? I'm going to run a scan.
Those
Safety
stealth
first.
scans, man.
Constant vigilance. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so we have official baseball and WNBA playoffs are on right now. NHL and NBA are in preseason and starting in a couple weeks, and NFL is happening. Thank you, Birdman. That was very informative.
Birdman over here doing the Lord's work.
I know. I made the mistake of, so the area that I'm in contains a high concentration of Buffalo Bills fans. And I made the mistake of being at a sporting establishment one night when there was a game on, and it got very loud very fast. And I was like, I'm going to go home where this is not happening. I love this for you, but it is very loud and I am overstimulated and I need to leave.
If only Clarice Starling had been there to save you.
I know.
I have yet to find a single Buffalo Bills fan who appreciates that joke.
I think it's funny.
See, yeah, you want to know why? Because you're not a Buffalo Bills fan.
It's true. It's true. I have no strong football feelings. I will say, because I went to college in Pittsburgh, I was go Steelers all the way because that's the safe way to be. I don't care. I don't.
I had to masquerade behind enemy lines. Yes, I did.
Lest they find me out and single me out in front of the others. Oh gosh. Yeah.
Everything was fine until, what is it? Steelers Nation attacked?
Until the Steelers Nation attacked.
Is that what it is? It's Steelers Nation.
It is. It is Steelers Nation. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
One of my very best friends in the whole wide world, legitimately really likes sports. And every time I say something and I'm like, that's right? And she's like, yeah, that'll do. Like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, Hebe, Alex has frozen, but it's welcome. We are so happy you're here. I think this might be the most cursed Doodle Crew stream we've ever had. Each different home has a ghost that is a technology ghost that is just relentless. So we lost Vic's webcam for a while. We fought with Megan's audio, so if she is quiet, I'm sorry. We tried. And poor
Alex. It just
Alex
reflects my real life.
Which which is funny because you have such a lovely voice. I always want to hear more of you. Yeah, and poor Alex is just, we literally had the IT department working with it 5 minutes after we were going to start, just because it was like, oh, you want me to work now? Absolutely not. I will not be doing that today. Thanks. But yeah, we're doing lesser known animation studios is what we're actually doing. Yeah, Alex keeps getting blipped like 1000%.
It's fine. It's cool. I'm not mad.
This is my not mad face.
You won't know what face I'm making. Enjoy this close-up of a single eye, you guys. Hopefully you're really enjoying this one single unicorn eye I've drawn.
It is just our new viral campaigning where it's like, oh, do you want to see more? Well, you have to wait. You have to wait to see if the computer ghosts let us show you more. Oh my god. Too
The
funny.
surprise of whether or not we actually managed to stream is part of the fun.
It really is.
Look, the ghosts are just trying to emulate my show. You can't see my face on a podcast, so clearly they're trying to simulate the experience as like a promotional thing. Like
exactly.
That's what they're doing. I think it works out great and is in no way frustrating.
Well, and I want to shamelessly plug that if you like Alex's voice and want to hear more of D&D, but are intimidated by jumping into a already going campaign, there is an incredible Song of Sugar and Snow, which Alex guest DM'd. I guess GM'd. I'm not sure which system it's in. I think it's 5e. On the Dungeons and Dracon Beams podcast, which is one you've also heard me talk about because I have been on that. And that is a super fun holiday Advent themed one. And I believe there might be whispers of it happening again this year. So if that's something you would like, I highly recommend checking that out. I do like this. I am feeling full of power because with the different ghosts and computer issues, there's enough of a lag that I can't always be stopped. So I can shamelessly promote anybody I want, and you can't stop me. You can't stop me. Hebe, how are you?
Suffering.
You had a huge adventure across the country and everything. We've missed you, so I'm super excited to hear about that. I'm sorry. I think I cut you off, Vic.
Sorry, it's my 1,000-year delay at work. I'm suffering from a lack of having planned even slightly what I was going to draw today.
Yep, I feel that. I did no warm-ups. I did no sketches. I kind of know how to draw the character. We're trying. Y'all, it's a Saturday. We are here doing our best. Oh, maybe. Okay.
Hello.
She's moving.
She's
Hello. Yay! God is angry at me and I don't know why. Thanks everybody for sticking with me. Next time I come on Doodle Crew, I'm going to be I'll have 6 Ethernet boards, just the cable stuck into the wall, and I'm like, as God is my witness.
We just wanted you to have the full experience. The tech ghosts are like, you need to experience first episode Doodle Crew season 1 style.
Oh yeah.
Is that what's happening?
Oh yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we had the litany of issues we had. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Huzzah!
So that's where we're at. Shockingly, I've been distracted by other things, so I haven't been focusing a whole heap on my drawing. That's on me. So, given that it all clears out for me because I have to keep closing and rebooting it, everybody can be talking mad smack about wow, look at Alex, she can't even figure out getting it out. I never know. So feel free in the comments, you guys, to just completely go nuts. But yes, I came in when we were talking about the melodious sound of my voice. That was where it cut out. So I was like, I'm certain that Emily's probably saying something complimentary about my show. I'm just gonna keep clicking and hope that the internet refreshes.
I was specifically talking about Song of Sugar and Snow.
We have started recording a sequel to it.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know how to follow it up because like Song of Sugar and Snow was my magnum opus. It was the greatest work I've ever done. And I'm like, how am I supposed to, when Austin and Alex came up to me and they were like, do you want to do another one? I was like, hell yeah. And then afterwards I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
How am I supposed to write a follow-up to my greatest work? Also, Owlbert is downstairs in my craft room watching over all of my craft supplies. And he is my regular, like, I am angry at my sewing machine hug buddy. For those of you who are not in the know, which is probably most of you, Owlbert is a big huggable owl bear that Crafty Potato made for me that I love, and he is a soft little boy, and he's like huge. He's like he's like the size of God, how big is he? It's like the size of a basset hound. And he's just the best.
Where's the name come from?
He is an owl bear, so his name is Owlbert.
I wondered if it was an Owl House reference.
No, see, that
was
would
about
mean
the Owl
I'm
House,
cool.
no doubt. But
That would mean
I'm
that
not sure
cool.
if it's cool to make Owl House references all the time, but I do because I'm obsessed with it. But that's a different thing.
I mean, what studio has Owl House done? Is that one we can sneak in?
Talk about missed opportunity.
Disney, otherwise I
my
would
God.
have.
Oh, it is Disney.
Disney, you got us again.
It's like how they have all of those videos that constantly go around where they're like lesser known Disney princesses, and it's a bunch of princesses that are not Disney. Like it's like Anastasia's not a Disney movie, you guys. This is the opposite of that.
Yep. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I mean, she is lesser well known, but she's not Disney.
She's not a Disney princess. Yet.
Please excuse me while I begin my drawing of Princess Alonwe. Enjoy that deep cut Disney movie reference, you guys. Black Cauldron doesn't even have face characters anymore.
It's like they like to pretend it doesn't exist. Period.
Josh, being the champion that he is, has brought Owlbert so that others can see him. He has very huggable paws.
Wonderful.
Like, I love him so much. But yeah, Josh has been listening to the stream and he's like, I know where that is.
Oh my God. I love it so much.
He's now going to be my little attendant, and hopefully his presence will keep the internet working.
I think that's very, very good. Crafty Potato, is that a thing that can be commissioned or currently purchased? Or what's the process for obtaining more of said Owlberts?
He's a beautiful man, and I love him so. Oh my gosh. Also, somebody posted in Anastasia. It was Crafty Potato. Anastasia is officially a Disney princess now that Disney bought Fox. No. Anastasia will never be a Disney princess. I don't care who owns the rights to the movie.
That's why I said yet, because that list is getting really short of non-Disney princesses.
Yeah, it's why you do what I do and pick the lesser-known studio that doesn't make animations anymore and has been defunct since the late 80s.
Yep. Well, so is.
Can you retroactively be made a Disney princess?
I think given their way, absolutely. Yeah. And the queen, the alien queen, the queen of the xenomorphs, technically counts as like yeah.
That's bizarre, but yes, technically.
Technically correct is the best kind of correct. So, but going on, so talking about like the lesser known animation studios, like it's very funny because when I was talking to somebody about like what studio I had picked, and they, because it is an obscure studio, didn't know which one I was referring to. And I was like, you might know them from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer live action special. And they like
can you draw those I'm like, no. They did two things. They did animated fantasy movies that were hand drawn and horrifying stop motion puppet movies. And those were the two things they did.
Yep.
What a legacy.
I mean, the thing that's also wild is that Rankin Bass could draw 4 characters. Like, the studio could draw 4 characters. They could draw Pretty Lady, subhuman frog person, handsome man, and old man with large nose. Those were the 4 characters that existed in the world of Rankin Bass. That's it. That's all they could do.
Well, what it's
Many
the
years ago.
it's the meme
4
that
nations.
Oh my god. Okay, can it be those 4 nations versus like the 4 nations of Don Bluth, where you've got the little Twinkie guy, you've got the bear guy, you've got the hot girl, and then you've got the freaking weird other character? Like,
Miscellaneous.
The weird funny character.
The weird
funny
funny-
character. Yeah.
Oh my god. So good. So good.
But oh god, that is true. He knew how to draw one guy.
Yep.
There was one male protagonist he could draw, and damn it, he was. I honestly feel like Don Bluth is responsible for the '90s boy band haircut.
For that floppy hair,
That's coming back.
Uh-huh. I was like, oh, I'm
Got
sorry.
a lot
The
of mileage out of that
Dimitri-
one character design.
He
Yeah.
made it work.
Mileage.
Did you guys know that he did 2 video games?
Yep. It's
I did what video games? What?
Yeah, he did. They were like, imagine if DDR was made by Dark Souls, and that's roughly the experience. There was one that was Space Ace, and another one that was a fantasy one that was called Night something, I think. Help me out here, chat. But they were legitimately, they were like beautifully animated, but if you wanted to get to the next scene, you had to beat a punishingly difficult, like, Battletoads, like, motorcycle era. Like it was literally like a paced directional thing. Like, I don't even think there were button inputs, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay, I need to back up a second. DDR Dark Souls.
Yes.
How?
Okay. So it had like a control stick that you would,
Okay.
move around, and you would have to move in the exact direction that it prompted you
Oh no.
Like,
No.
on
That
reflex.
man loved to torture people. That
Yeah,
just
you
sounds
would
like
die so
oh my
much.
God.
But it was all like really beautifully animated. It was
Oh,
was a
of
full
course.
Don Bluth animation.
yeah.
As he inflicts pain and suffering while you're trying to navigate the gameplay, you just get beautiful animation while you sob.
Well, it's also it was the thing that kept you going, was you wanted to see more of it.
Yep. Yeah, Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, CZ Drop coming in clutch.
Thank you. God, Dragon's Lair is the one that I couldn't remember.
Well, that was because it was the friggin' Thumbelina thing all over again. It had the girl who looked like the fairies and that was at least a different male protagonist, but yeah, just too funny. The Don Bluth stuff is hilarious to me.
Okay,
I didn't
I've gotta
see Don
Google.
Bluth
Hold on.
until Don Bluth. I didn't see Thumbelina until I was in my 20s. And what a wild experience that is to have when
Yeah.
you are like half drunk on your best friend / roommate's couch. And she's like, "What? You've never seen this movie?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a little different in adulthood. A little bit.
It's a fever dream in adulthood.
I don't think there's a single Don Bluth movie that's not a fever dream. That's the thing that I've come to realize, where I was just like, no, I feel chemically changed every time I watch something that he made. And I'm just like, I don't know what's happening.
I mean, can we just talk about, we don't have to talk about it, but I think it bears mentioning Toxic Love, and that's where I'm going to leave it. That's where I'm gonna leave it.
Okay. That is the only song that justifies that movie being a musical, because all of the rest of them are bad.
Oh my god.
See, everything else is fine. Like, sure, it's bad, it's whatever. But toxic love is burned into my brain cells in a way I'll never forget. Like, if in the future,
talk about brain chemistry. Like, it's
Masterpiece.
if in the future they are able to like take our brains and put them on record players and just kind of like drop the needle on our brains in the future, toxic love and like several like Land Before Time intro theme songs are just going to play out of my brain.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I squirreled so hard. I found the Dragon's Lair Super Nintendo cover, and I'm getting Quest for Camelot and Weird Bunny Girl vibes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, but also you talk about
missed
great
that one.
soundtracks. Quest for Camelot had bangers for no reason. I'm like, why are these songs so good? What is happening? And then why are there all of a sudden
Another
a
classic
weird,
Disney movie.
yeah, like dragon comedy song offshoot? Like, what is going on?
Precisely.
Yep.
There
Oh,
we go.
God.
That was the one.
Absolute bangers. Yep.
I loved Quest for Camelot as a kid, and I went through an era where I based my whole personality off the protagonist. Shocking everyone, I'm sure, who knows me. But God, that movie was just, and also, this is such a side tangent, but she had this like fat little Shetland pony, and it was like my favorite thing because it was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, she did. No, it was adorable.
It was so cute. I loved that fat little Shetland pony. I hated the stupid axe chicken, but I loved the fat Shetland pony.
Yep.
Oh, the axe chicken's my favorite, actually.
I'm willing to hear the argument in favor of the axe chicken. I was just sitting there like, we already have the comedy Griffin with the lisp, who I love. Like, we don't need axe chicken now.
Okay, so axe chicken is just like, I don't know, like, if you turned it into a drinking game, like you're watching the movie and it's going along, and suddenly you've got axe chicken for no reason. He just pops up randomly. So it's almost like, I'm just watching this to see when he's coming back.
You know, honestly, that could be a stream. That could be like a reaction or like a Patreon thing.
Yep.
We could do Quest for Camelot drinking game, and I would show up. Like, I'd be there.
I would clear my schedule because I have not watched that in a very long time.
I'm still
I
angry.
actually got to watch it recently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the little one found it, I don't know where, on one of the streaming services, and I was like, sure, we'll watch it. And I'm like, oh my God, I've forgotten half of this movie, but wow.
See, I'm afraid that I'm going to go back and rewatch it and still be able to do like beat for beat remembering of all of it. And I was like, why is this still in my brain? Why did you commit this to memory?
Swan, do you mean afraid, or you're just warning us that that's what's going to happen?
I'm absolutely warning you. Yeah, like fair game. You know this, and if you still invite me, then that's on you. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out. Sorry for the absolute chaos. The full VOD will be available over on my YouTube.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. No, and I was thinking the crazy villain in that is then so much the crazy villain from Swan Princess, which was also super duper my jam for weird, no specific reason given my name.
Yeah, I was about to be like, can't imagine why.
Yeah, the blonde princess whose name is Swan. I don't know. And
Odette?
a girl. Yes.
Odette.
Who did ballet. I was like, yeah, was this just made just for me? Okay, thanks. And also,
I love
Alex,
that movie.
I do. I love it so much. Like, unapologetically, I love that movie. No, Alex, when you were saying might have based my personality very much on the protagonist, I was like, we would have been such good friends in school because I was like, oh no, it's me. It's also me. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I had this conversation when I was like on with the Horse Girls. is if we had all gone to the same school, I feel like 90% of our childhood school trauma would have never happened.
Uh-huh.
And we would have all, and everything would have been cool and everything would have been chill.
Yep. It would have been a very different experience.
We would have been giving other people swirlies. We would not have been receiving them. It'd be like that really weird school in High School Musical where the only cool kids are either on the basketball team or in the drama club. You know, the club that's always known for being the most popular group of people in a school.
The classic high school popular kids, the basketball team and the drama kids, you know. Oh my god. No, the nerd girl gang that I could have had, mwah,
It'd be powerful.
mwah, unstoppable.
It would have been like what Josh always puts in when he's talking about girl bosses, which is the secretary bird and the gorilla from Agretzko. Just like walking down the hallway, kind of like, oh, this is killing my back. I'll show you a good chiropractor, but we cannot look weak in the office.
Oh my god, I love that so much.
That would have been us, but we would have all had like Tamagotchis and Jinko jeans.
Yup.
Which are
See, the universe knew it would have been too powerful.
It's true. It's very true. They're like, we can't unleash this. It's too much. And we're like, but just think of it.
But just think of the raw power.
It would have been a complete cultural shift. It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
Look,
Ugh.
I'm trying to regain that era just by being like, hello, I just want to constantly dress and live like I am in the craft. Excuse me. Yes, have you seen the movie Practical Magic? If you could just make that happen, like that's what I want.
The more I age into my lovely witchy era, the more I just want to be the ants from Practical Magic. I was like, that seems like the best. They give no fucks. They do what they want. They scare the neighborhood children. I'm like, so this is perfection. What I'm seeing.
Yeah,
I'm here for all of this.
Like, I want to have the Practical Magic house, but with the backyard. This is very, very specific and a very deep cut of the Rosie O'Donnell Harriet the Spy movie, where they had this really weird backyard that was like filled with like strange trinkets and like activities. Did I hallucinate this, or does anyone else remember seeing this?
I remember the movie, and I remember thinking, like, it was one of those, honestly, it felt a lot like Matilda, where the world that they drop you into, even though it's supposed to be our world, feels so much more magical and has all of these little things that you can get into, like the most immersive video game where you can just run around and touch everything. And I just wanted that to be my real life so badly.
I mean, I'm already nosy in everyone's business all the time. I made it real. Okay, thank God.
This is why we all play tabletop.
Yes. Okay, hear me out. Pact Warlock Matilda.
Oh, God.
Is the patron just Roald Dahl?
Yes. I was going to say Pact of the Bookworm and have it literally be like an eldritch worm that lives in books, like a weird page master thing.
Oh, speaking of other nightmare fuel things, that I didn't even watch the stupid movie, but the animation part of it like creeped me out so much. Like the animation design of Macaulay Culkin, I'm like, nope, that's a no for me.
Oh God,
I don't like it. It makes me feel
That was another
weird.
movie that had a video game.
I believe that.
I do. I mean, they made video games out of everything in the 90s, but let me tell you, I'm with you, Em. I do remember vaguely watching it, and I have a mental wall of anything that happened in it. Like, I don't remember it at all.
Too traumatizing,
like,
can't watch.
Can't watch. Go back. Pull back.
It was the visuals. I mean, nothing wrong with it. It's like a generic, book story, never-ending story, fine. But it's like the visuals, just like, no kid needs to see that. No kid needs to see that.
Nope. I was a sensitive child. I was not ready for any of that. Oh my gosh.
But like, now that we're talking about like childhood nightmare fuel and I'm drawing Lady Amalthea, it's like, guys, The Last Unicorn was it being an animated movie opened the door for people to think this was a movie for children, and instead it is a movie about existentialism and the acceptance of mortality. And it's like, okay, cool.
And a little allegory too. Little allegories,
Just sprinkled in just
there.
for funsies.
Yeah, just for funsies.
Oh my god, now again, as I'm getting further into adulthood, the concept of why did you come for me now? Like,
oh, the Molly Group bit. Oh,
that hits a lot harder now.
Oh my gosh!
How dare you come to me when I am this? It's like, oh god, I need to sit down.
Yeah.
Alex, we're watching a movie. You're already sitting down. I need to sit down harder.
I need to be more flat. I need to lay on the ground.
I need to be lower, physically lower.
No wonder our generation's doing great.
Yeah.
They started us young with the trauma.
Again, in defense of one of my favorite animation studios of all time, that was in the 70s. That was not us being children.
No, but the fact that it was an animation and parents were like, "Oh, this is for kids."
This is fine.
I don't know if you guys have seen the animated Lord of the Rings set.
Yes. Hello. Hi.
Definitely not for a 5-year-old. I'm gonna throw it out there. Not for a 5-year-old.
As a 5-year-old who watched those movies, a couple of notes. One, the orc and goblin songs were all bangers. All of them. All of them rocked.
I will give you that.
The elf songs were all lame. If it was exclusively a musical recruitment system, I'd have been on the side of Mordor so fast. Like, incorporate some drums, please. But when I was a child, I would watch those movies, and I think a lot of who I am today was because I watched those movies at such a young age. Take that as you will. But when I was a child, I can't believe I'm saying this on the internet. I would try to leap onto bed from as far as I could because the monster that was under my bed was the Hobbit edition of Gollum, and I thought he would eat my toes if I got too close to him.
Oh, baby Alex.
But seriously, the monster under my bed was the Hobbit, the animated Rankin Bass Hobbit Gollum, that weird toad monster.
Yeah, definitely. Toad monster Gollum.
So I'll tell you, I didn't even make it to an actual like nightmare fuel thing. Little Emily was so terrified of the cartoon Lambert, which is the sheepish lion. So it is a lion who grows up being raised by sheep, and there is a wolf that attacks the pack, and Lambert has to protect his pack. And the wolf was so terrifying to me that it was the upstairs of my house. So the old farmhouse that my parents lived in, like, it would be dark up there, and I would be convinced that the Lambert wolf was up there, and I had to go up and go as fast as I could because that's what was hiding in the darkness. So I'm with you. Little Emily was very afraid.
Also, I would totally make an AMV with Molly and Amalthea to the tune of "What Was I Made For" from Barbie. Yeah, because I need more emotional damage. That's fine. That's cool. We can just keep punching me while I'm down. That's all right.
But then you could share the emotional damage with all your friends.
Ah, yes. Share trauma.
Monetize it.
Truest bonding experience. It's not a bond if it's not a trauma bond.
Oh, look, Satan has joined the chat. Oh. It's good.
It's fun. It's cool. It's chill. We're all traumatized by these movies. But
It's
like
fine.
the thing that's also wild is when you're talking about the Rankin Bass animated movies, they made The Hobbit and then The Return of the King. They made nothing in the middle. They only did Hobbit and Return of King. That's it. So when I was little, I would watch The Hobbit, then I would watch the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings. where I was convinced Legolas was a woman for a very long time. And then I would watch the Rankin Bass Return of the King, and I was convinced that that's how that story went. I know that there are some gaps there, but that's how I thought that book went until I was able to be old enough to read it.
So you only saw The Return of the King and The Hobbit. They also did The Lord of the Rings in 78.
Well, I saw the Ralph Bakshi one, but I'd never seen Rankin Bass do anything other than The Hobbit and The Return of the King.
Oh,
The only one I knew that tried to do Lord of the Rings was the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings, which was rotoscoped and really influenced my fear of rotoscope.
Yeah. Well, and I did not grow up watching this, so I have been very much thankful for TikTok for showing me these very funny little things. But they kept in. There's a scene where Aragorn is running, and whichever actor they had playing him is running, and he fell down, and they friggin' rotoscoped that too. And I'm like, that's commitment right there. You had the choice to not do that, and you just like, nope. I'm doing it. I'm doing it exactly. I'm like, okay.
I'm doing it exactly like that.
Yep.
Can you imagine?
So I didn't know that a different studio did the Lord of the Rings. But yeah, that's what I was talking about, is like the rotoscoping and the wraiths and the like, oh my god.
I just, can you imagine?
Aragorn's lack of trousers.
Yeah, he did have a real, like, it was a really short outfit that he had going
Very
on.
short,
like, I'm surprised he didn't get dress coded. Like,
he was just Robin Hooding it. We were just men in tights.
Yep.
Aragorn, put your arms down by your sides. I need to measure how far your hemline is from the tips of your fingers.
Yep. Oh my god. Just doing the Batman and Robin thing. It was like, you just gonna wear undies? Okay. Hey, you know what? You do you. I love that.
At least it makes sense in the comics that Robin doesn't wear pants, especially in the early ones, when you're like, oh, it's a modification of his circus performer outfit. That's what he's comfortable moving around in.
And that's the only time it makes sense.
It is, agreed. But I do wish that, like, somebody had, like, tried to go for, like, Dick Grayson's femoral artery at some point, so he at least put on, like, leggings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it also makes you wonder if that's why his Nightwing costume is, like, you know, completely covered. Like, full suit.
Oh my god.
Probably.
So good. It's so good.
I really committed to putting a whole lot of hair in this one.
Yes. Almathia's hair is goes forever.
Hey, yo, girl, you got that hair that goes on forever. So, speaking of that, did any of you see the animated Barbie movies growing up?
I did not. That was not one of the, like, I don't know why. I don't know if it was just age-wise, if I had just missed, like, the cusp of that, because I feel like by the time I was aware of them, I had aged out of Barbie, and it was not something my sister, who is 10 years younger than me, got into. But I remember it being very funny when they started doing the Barbie dance ones, because girls that I danced with, and now then it became a whole thing on the internet, people would learn the Barbie ballet dances and like do them in their point shoes, and I was like, well, that's truly hilarious and I love it. But I missed that window somehow. I'm not sure what I was doing, but
I think some of that.
Are we talking about the 3D animated ones, or like which? Oh,
I was thinking about the 3D animated ones, but now that Swan mentioned the dancing, my first thought is that video game, the Barbie Gotta Groove, that had where you would choreograph dances. Like I feel like I'm aging myself really strongly here.
I think you're on the younger end, so you're good.
You can find all of the songs from that game on YouTube, and I was looking for it at like 2 a.m. at like have you ever woken up and you're like, I have to find this like on the internet?
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to all of them, and there are a couple that are like, okay, these are really solid, and a couple of them that you're like, okay, it's a different time. It's cool. Because it was the Generation Girls thing where they were trying to like age up Barbie and they were all in college.
Oh my god. Yeah, that phase. That was during the Disney sequels phase.
Oh god, that was a dark time.
The dark times.
The dark times.
All like I was watching this video that the Odd Ones Out did where he was talking about how all of the Barbie animated movies, like not Barbie, all of the like Disney sequels are all bad. And as I opened my mouth to say, well, I thought this one was okay, he had a sock puppet come up that's like, well, I thought that like Pocahontas 2 wasn't too bad. And it's like, no, they're all bad. And I was like, are you in my house?
How did you know? No, I will say Pocahontas 2 has one banger of a song that is so good. And like I think that's the only reason that one kept me coming back, cuz I was like, "Oh no, that one was kind of good though." But the actual story is really not good.
Really
You're
not
like,
okay.
They're not good.
What's the
don't
song?
like it.
I have to know what the song is.
Where do I go from here?
Okay, yeah, that one's I know
It's
what you're-
good. It's
That one's
genuinely.
not
But then you get into the He Lives in You from is it the 1.5
Lion
or
King.
the
Lion
Lion
King
No, it's the
2
second
Simba's
one.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's its own thing. So
You talking about the Millennial Furry Awakening movie?
Now, I will admit, if you had to pick one Disney sequel to save, I would probably save that one.
yeah,
I would
Only
also
because
probably
it
say that
actually
one.
added to the
Yeah.
story in a way that I was like, oh no, yeah, we've come full circle and we're moving forward, and I adore this.
yep. No, it actually felt like they had put some thought into a story. Whereas I feel like many of the other the fact that they tried to do anything historical with Pocahontas, and I was like, let's not. We're already
It's like,
so
you didn't
far.
bother with the first one. Why are you trying to do that in the second?
What?
Now you're just
Why are we doing
ruining
it now?
Why are we doing it now?
Why are we doing it now?
I was gonna say Disney Robin Hood was probably even more Millennial Furry Awakening. I mean, I feel like it was Disney Robin Hood, Space Jam's Lola Bunny,
Uh-huh.
and Kovu from The Lion King.
And I'll only lean more into Kovu because going to college with a lot of furries, they all drew that face. Like Kovu's face very much became the furry face in my head. So like that's where like I think it leaned more into that, because I also like Disney's Robin Hood Fox he could absolutely get it. But I never saw his face as much going forward.
Well, because he's like the guy that you date when you're in high school before you know what you want in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why you don't see it. Like Kovu is like the bad boy that you date in college and you think you're gonna marry, and then you look back on that relationship in your 30s and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, see why that didn't work.
Well, mistakes were made.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Everybody like my really not at all self-influenced furry college relationship reference.
I love it.
Made no connection whatsoever to your personal life. I don't know.
Yeah, no, what are you talking about?
No drawing on experiences there.
Not even a little bit. No, I'm drawing Lady Amalthea.
Yeah. No experiences here. Not a single one.
No, I was just sitting in a room eating like Hostess snack cakes, and then eventually I just came out of that room and decided I was an adult now.
That's the way to do it.
Which I do have those moments where I'm like, I don't know, maybe that wasn't the right decision. No, let's maybe go back. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Jeebus.
Too funny.
Yeah, now I'm just thinking about like all the like weird existentialist nonsense that we all collectively experienced.
I mean, I think of even the concept in Who Framed Roger Rabbit of the fact that the tunes could be dissolved and disappear completely. Like that was
horrifying.
heavy. that was really heavy as a child. Like, once again, I'm like, was this movie made for kids? I don't think it was. I don't think you made that for us.
Look at Jessica Rabbit and tell me that movie was made for children.
And yet,
I feel like that movie
photo has
specifically
me
is
wearing what? A Roger Rabbit t-shirt.
a victim of the assumption that cartoons are always for kids. You know?
Yes.
Completely.
Oof.
But, or we could be referring to Kirkland Brand, who framed Roger Rabbit, Cool World.
Now, that one was at least marketed as an adult, like, not for kids. That was marketed not for kids.
Thank God.
You have to at least give it that.
It was also, like, it should have been better.
Yeah.
It should have been a better movie than it was. I wanted it to be good so badly when I finally was old enough to watch it.
CZ Drop, you crack me up. Says the baby smokes cigars. Yeah.
Oh God, how about 70s animated Watership Down?
Yep. What? No,
Oh.
it's about bunnies, right?
It is. And Massacre. Yeah. Bunnies and Massacre.
Bunnies and Massacre. Okay, but that'd be
Just
a
whatever
kick-ass
sounds.
punk band name.
Yeah, I was going to make the same comment.
Oh my gosh, I would wear the like super cute like baby doll cut little skater dress that was Bunnies and Massacre. Like that's adorable.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Also, I didn't understand the Rats of Nim. The Secret of Nim. Like, I didn't understand it as a child, and now looking back on it, I'm like, why was I allowed to watch this movie?
Mm-mm.
Have you read the book, though?
I didn't. I ended up, out of curiosity, cliff notesing it when I was older, but I've never actually sat down and read it because I was so disturbed by the film.
Understandable, but I would say it's worth a read. It
Interesting.
dives a lot deeper into the rat's history and everything, and it is phenomenal. I would say, as I often do, I'd take the book over the film, except I loved the animation so much, even though it was very disturbing as a child. But that is one of my top movies.
I was such a little scaredy cat. I hard noped out of that. I think I made it through one viewing, if I even made it through the whole viewing. Nope. Mm-mm.
Of which one?
Of Secret of Nim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Drowls. I'm learning. So once again, shameless self-promotion. If you want to hear a whole adult person, me, read the Animorphs books for the first time, I'm currently reading through the series on Animorphs Anonymous, and it's remarkable to me just how freaking heavy those books are. And I was like, this was YA. This was for kids. Oh my gosh.
Third grade. Yeah, third grade folks were reading that. Yeah.
To be fair, and this is something we talk about a bunch, but I do want to highlight it, that I've been genuinely impressed in finding is, even with the very heavy concepts and the fact that the language used is clearly meant for a younger reader, they do not dumb it down. The way that they speak to the reader is with a lot of respect, and they'll present these very heavy concepts and the way that the kids are working through it, but it's never spoken in a like, oh no, here, we'll explain to you why this is bad. They kind of just say this stuff and then leave it, and it's really good. Like, I'm more impressed with them. I knew I was going to enjoy them, but I'm more impressed with them than I thought I was going to be, just because they're written really well and it's with a lot of care. And then it's also the like, oh no, I really like these characters and you're gonna do more bad things to them, aren't you? Yeah, okay. But
Look,
Oh, no, it might not have been third grade. It might have been fourth or fifth, but it was definitely elementary school the first time I remember seeing the Animorph books.
look, I don't know a single writer who their favorite thing is not having someone be upset by something they wrote, in like the sense that, like, oh, you cared for this character and now they're dying. It's big ol' unfortunate.
what a shame. Nope. Also, just to shout out a writer who I got to meet in person and is a rad human, Jason Doro. We read his book for Surprise Attack Book Club, but a previous year, Alex, anonymous Alex, had read the book, and so when we encountered him at Dragon Con, she got to go up to him and just be like, "How dare you?" And he was saying that he loves those moments so much, and he can always tell where someone is at in the story, because there's two big like left turn moments, and if they like come up and smile at him, he knows they haven't gotten to the first moment yet, and if they come up and they kind of like grimace at him, he's like, oh, okay. And I liked that, but it was such a fun conversation, and to his credit, we got to have an interview with him, and he was talking about how a lot of this stuff has to be earned, and he took it very seriously in the, how do I want to approach this? And yes, a character trauma or a character death is going to be very impactful, but is it the correct thing? Does it actually make sense in this, or am I just doing it for the, the gasp and stuff like that? But it was a very neat thing as someone like me who is not a writer, hearing that kind of thought process behind it, and it very much the book feels very earned, which was very cool.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, everybody's always talking about how, oh, well, they don't make kids media like this anymore. It's like they've always made really strong, like, youth media. It's just always been specific.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had the YA craze, which was a little bit on the older side, but like Animorphs and my personal favorite, Deltora Quest, were all books that actually dealt with some really heavy themes. There was one about a bunch of kids shipwrecked on an island that was really popular when I was a kid, that dealt with like survivor's guilt and stuff like that. It was actually like really interesting. But like they've always had that media. So when people are always surprised, like, wow, Bluey is like really good. And it's like, okay, like you can make media for children that isn't absolute brain rot.
You can. You truly can. You just have to kind of care a little bit.
Though, given the conversation that we've all been having for the past, hour, maybe chill on some of the themes and how they're portrayed.
Yeah. Balance. All things in balance.
A little bit of balance.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Nothing in balance. Excess exclusively.
I mean, to be fair, we also come from the era of, like Care Bears and Captain Planet and, all those cutesy little things.
I can still sing that stupid intro song. I can still sing the
Care Bears
stupid
or Captain Planet?
Captain Planet.
Yeah, which one?
Because we are the Planeteers and you could be one too. Honestly, I want Captain Planet to get a reboot so badly because it's a series I feel like you could get away with making a decent reboot if you really tried.
Yeah, I feel like it could
too.
Also, with like updated animation, it could be really good looking. Like, it could be good.
Well, it's been recorded that like kids are more like focused on environmental issues now than they've ever been. So like there's a market here, guys. If I have to speak it in your terms, there's a market.
Market equals money, and you can literally have money, please. We did it. We solved it. We've got it for you.
We're also, just gonna have
while you're at it, bring back Pirates of Darkwater.
Yeah.
That is a series I do not know what we are referring to. What is Pirates of Darkwater?
Oh, that one I feel like it hit just a little bit older. Was it a Nickelodeon one?
Was it originally Nickelodeon?
I can't.
It's Hanna-Barbera. It's Hanna-Barbera.
That's right.
So it might have been on what had been an ABC.
Yes. That sounds right.
ABC, Nickelodeon may have picked it up at some point. So it's a old animated series, set in space, and has pirates. And my memory is not working very well because it's been a while. But I do remember it was awesome.
I will say, so I did not watch it. It was not one that because we did not have cable at that time, so it was not a one that I had access to. But it was very much visually, it just looked like an 80s animated for boys kind of pirate show. But then all of a sudden there'd be laser guns, and you're like, wait a minute, wait a minute. So
I shall
very
integrate ye on the high seas of space.
exactly. Lest ye download me viruses.
Yeah, but the main character had a special item. Oh, Sinbad of the Seven Seas with aliens in space. Yes, that is.
Thanks,
I believe
Josh.
that
You
is a
said it
good
the best.
summary.
That was
Yeah.
We got there. Thanks for making
We
our
got
words.
there. But didn't he have an amulet that the main bad pirate guy was after?
Mm-hmm.
So very much all the story elements we love from like 80s fantasy and sci-fi series all mashed together in a kid's cartoon.
Yep.
It was quite memorable enough that I still remember it even though I haven't seen it since I was a kid. So.
Yeah.
Oh
Very
my-
like John Connor too, and that kind of Frank Frazetta like design element stuff, but in 80s. Like it also looked like it was animated by the G.I. Joe guys. Like that was the kind of funny thing to me. Yeah.
So when I was a kid, I got really into the Sky Dancers animated series. And I got into this knockdown, drag out argument with Brandon, who one of my co-stars on Quid Pro Roll, because I am convinced that he looks like Guy Fieri, the main villain of Sky Dancers, and no one agrees with me. And I pulled up an image,
now.
and I'm like, I think he looks like Guy Fieri, but like as a weird magic villain. And everyone else on the show was like, Alex, this man does not look like a bald Guy Fieri. And I'm like, but he does! Like,
Is this the green guy with the
Yeah.
swirly tummy?
Yes, the green guy with the swirly tummy.
Which is just a tremendous sentence that delights me.
He was a hell of a weird design.
Okay, I have to Google this now.
I
Hold
think I
on.
can see it.
Sky Dancers.
Bless you for saying that, because I have been in an argument with my cast since this argument happened.
Oh, Josh says he looks like evil Smash Mouth. I was like, just the one or the whole band or
Yeah, that.
Oh
I
my god,
definitely-
what is that?
All right, now I gotta look.
Okay, why do the imps look like a really bad Technicolor fever dream of Lock, Shock, and Barrel?
Because they're 1,000,000% a terrible Technicolor fever dream of Lock, Shock, and Barrel.
Oh my god. I don't know if I could even watch that with that swirl thing going on. Wow, high contrast much. Woo.
Yeah, no, the design was not the best. What's even worse is that all
What
of
do you
the
mean?
protagonists are dancers. And there are so many scenes of that. Like, it's basically shot like Power Rangers, where the way that they do, like, the kids' like everyday life is shot weirdly differently than the way that the rest of it's shot. And watching them without being magical wing people dance around is really unsettling.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought when I saw him, was Polyrath. Like, what? Why? So are they teenagers, the Sky Dancers, or are they kids?
They're teenagers.
They're teenagers, like Power Rangers, and then they magical girl morph into Sky Dancers.
So the way that it works is that there is an alternate Sky Dancer world that's run by this lady whose husband has just been murdered. And she has 2 flying dogs. They don't come up much, but they're always like present. So it's just important to remember. Imagine 2 cartoon dogs with big airplane ears that they use to fly. You've got an idea of what this is. So these Sky Dancers, which are 2 dudes and 3 girls, are pulled from the dance academy from which they dance, and they join hands and they say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. And then they magically transform into their sky dancer forms and get powers. One of them shoots fire out of his hands, like it's very like, okay, what you'd expect. But the one that I remember the most, because I only remember two of their powers. One was the guy that shot fire. The other was a girl who could make stuff, like tangible physical things, out of clouds by dancing.
Ooh.
And that is a dope power.
That is a very
That is
dope
pretty
power.
dope, actually. Yeah.
That is such a
Very
cool
handy.
ability.
Okay, I
And-
can see why that would have been popular. The only reference I had for any of this was just the toys that flew into fireplaces. So I
Wasn't
couldn't-
God,
from the
that
era
is
where
such a
these
funny
shows were
video.
literally only made because of the toys. Like it was just to sell the toys.
Yeah.
So the
No,
plot
that
could
makes
be
sense.
as tenuous as it needs to be because you just do the thing and it spins away into someone's eye.
But yeah, that explains the Polyrath villain and the airplane dogs and but I will take the cloud power. That is pretty
Cloud
neat.
power's
That's a little
sick.
original.
No,
yeah.
that's also like it's not one I have heard before, so that's always fun. Oh,
Yeah,
there
it
we
was
go.
like some of them. I'm trying to remember what some of the other ones were, but those are the only two that I completely remember.
So mine was, and I was trying to look it up because I couldn't remember the name. Because once again, I only had the toys because I had no way to watch the show, and it was Tenko and the Guardians of Magic. And it was these very cool little dolls that had like little warrior leotards on, and then they had little magnetic like plastic pieces with like feathers and stuff that would snap onto them, but it was all these different things and they would get different powers and stuff. They were like gem warriors. I'm sure there was a ton more to it, but once again I was like, nope, the toys were cool and I liked that, but I never watched the show. But it was such a like, oh no, this is a thing, and nobody else ever knew.
You're talking about?
What?
Are you talking about Guinevere and the Jewel Riders?
So I'm not. It's very similar to that though. So I think it was either like one knocked off the other and one was the American version of the Asian one or vice versa, and oh,
They were doing a lot of that too, to be fair. They almost did it to Sailor Moon, and thank
god.
goodness every day that didn't happen.
That
I've seen some of the leaked stuff that
The
was supposed to be
American
for the
Sailor
American
Moon?
Sailor Moon.
it's so bad.
It's
So bad.
It's
Oh.
actually hilarious to me how bad it is. I was like, there's no way. It couldn't possibly be that bad. And I was like, oh my god, it's worse.
Oh, it
It's
was
actually worse.
It was like, how can we take this and then apply the Captain Planet like structure to it to make it cool for American kids? And I'm like, thank God you didn't do that.
Thank God,
Just-
no. Also,
I'd rather
thank
take
you,
the bad dub.
Right. Ms. Tree, thank you everyone who has hung out and had to pop in and out. Thank you all for hanging with us. This is so wonderful.
Hi,
Yeah,
Tree.
no, I'll take a bad dub. I'll take they're definitely cousins. There's not.
The closest cousins I've ever seen.
I was
Yes.
the kid who believed that. I was like, well, damn, I'm not close with my cousins. Like, should I be better friends with my cousins? Like, I had to have it explained to me in my early teens.
Can I share a little blip about Neptune and Uranus?
Please.
So the first time I was ever introduced to them, I was a kid and I was living in Okinawa. So the television was in Japanese and they didn't have subtitles or anything. So no concept of who these characters are or what's going on, but definite romance vibes. So when I was reintroduced to Sailor Moon as a teenager with the dubbing and everything, I was like, oh, they're a couple, whatever. So it was hilarious to me that when they finally brought them on, that they're like, oh, they're cousins. And I'm like, who would believe that? No offense, but who would believe that?
Me! I would!
You said it. Why would you lie to me?
Taking everyone at the word.
Yep.
I have an Excel spreadsheet, and this is 1000% true. This is not a bit. I have an Excel spreadsheet of horror movies, whether or not I would survive them and why. And Skeleton Key is on there as I would not, because I'm gullible and superstitious and believe anything that is said to me.
Oh my god, Alex, there are times where we are the same person. Because also I took them at their word that they were cousins, and then I was confused because I was like,
But are they?
I don't
Like, what's
think
with all
so.
the rose petals?
But then I was like, well, there's a town near me that kind of has a bad reputation for, family members being super friendly, so maybe it's like that.
I'm sorry. I'm bad. Like, let's not pretend I'm not. But you thought you went to like Dental and Arrow before you went to lesbians.
Yep.
I'm
gonna be real, not a lot of lesbian media in my formative years. I had to kind of learn that one and come back around to that one. I was like, oh, lesbians. Okay. Yeah,
I like how Emily and I are the same level of Harold. They're lesbians.
Yeah.
They're just roommates, guys. They're just roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
They were roommates. Yeah. Little Emily, so innocent, so sweet. Why would you lie to me, though? You tell me these things, so I believe you. I have no reason to question you. No.
To be fair, that's true, though, because if you were not exposed to the storyline through, let's say, finding fan-dubbed versions of the manga online or something.
Just as an example.
No personal experience whatsoever.
Just random, off the top of my dome example.
I can understand if the only media for Sailor Moon you had consumed was the Deke show, that you'd be like, sure, this is how this works. But anybody else who already knew, like, it was hilarious.
I'm also going to throw out, and I say this with Sailor Moon was incredibly formative and incredibly important to me, and still important to me in my adult life. Like, I was also oblivious and therefore completely fine with the fact that Darien was in his 20s and Serena was 14, because little me was like, what? It's fine. It's not fine. It's real gross.
True love.
It's true love, and they're reincarnated, and it's fine. So, like,
why couldn't they have reincarnated at the same time? Why did there have to be that buffer of a few years?
So many valid questions that little
Yet
me
hung
was
up
just
with the
not.
reincarnation DMV?
That's a good question. Since they perished at the same time, technically they should have been reincarnated at the same time.
Yep.
And we're not going to talk about how the other Outer Scouts are older, but they're reincarnated like post-future. Like, it gets weird.
It gets so weird. And, at a certain point, I'm like, I'm just gonna not. I'm not gonna dig into this more. I like this silly show where they have magical powers and oh my gosh, Josh, yes, Card Captor Sakura.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think
lot
that
of the
was
clamp.
worse.
A lot of the clamp shows. And then as I got into reading more manga, I was reading more like that era of manga. I was like, oh no. There was some really intense stuff that I was not fully picking up on, and yikes.
Wasn't even in Magic Knight Rares, wasn't Hikaru and the bland, dark-haired love interest, like, didn't they have a similar...
His name's not coming to me right now either.
Zagato's brother.
Zagato's brother.
Gato.
Yeah, there's definitely an age gap there. And by the way, some serious bi undertones. I'm just going to throw that out there for him.
Once again, I'm going to throw
the
out...
series that introduced me to the concept of polyamory. And I don't know how I feel about that.
That was one... Oh, no, because I didn't have any way to get this stuff or consume it, I just collected images from that. So I was obsessed with the images of that show, knowing absolutely zero about it. And much like Revolutionary Girl Utena, I'm just like, look at, they're so close.
I did the same thing! And it is the gayest anime in history!
Oh no!
If there was ever a term for the
this
sweet
is a
baby
wonderful
angels.
explanation.
Yep. Oh no, it's stunning. It's so gay. It's just so gay.
Oh, I can't.
No.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
They're such good friends. Look at how they protect each other and hug all the time.
And, share the same bedroom. That's normal.
Yeah, like girls do.
And stare lovingly into each other's eyes while laying on a field of leaves.
Oh, God. Okay.
I was not a
but
smart child. Just
I will say, overall, culturally, the age gap thing is still problematic, but it's not as problematic over there, or wasn't in the 80s and 90s when these things were being done. But it is hilarious looking back and going, no, yeah, she's 14 and he's going into college. What?
I don't like it. But I'll admit too, Tenchi Muyo was one of my favorites, and it was I also realized I read and watched a fair amount of harem related things, and I was like, you kind of pull back on some of that, and I was like, oh no, a lot of this is super not okay. There's a shocking lack of consent every which way happening right now, and every which way. And I was like, and all over this terrible bland man, which I don't feel that way about Tenchi. I actually kind of liked him, but it was just like, so, adult eyes looking at it, but Kid Me was like, look at all these wacky hijinks.
Wacky hijinks. Why are they always in the bath with a bathing suit?
Always. And the nosebleeds. Is there something about hot springs that just make people have nosebleeds?
The temperature change.
Yep.
I have so many questions.
So many questions that get answered later, and you go, oh.
Oh.
Questions you don't really want the answer to.
Not really.
Yeah.
I like
just-
Or you see an unedited version and you go, wait, what?
Wait, what? Wait, what? I'm sorry, what?
Oh,
Yeah.
they literally painted on the bathing suits in the American version. Okay, well, now I have to reevaluate everything I knew about this show.
So much. So much.
Also, I like the comment of, I'm fully convinced that a bunch of women had to wait a long time to realize they were bi because children's shows were like, they're just good friends or they're close cousins. I think that's probably correct because I guarantee you there are people in the world who are as dumb as me and Emily were as children.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, goodness gracious.
No, and Ms. Tree, you're absolutely right. Say the very obvious thing of representation matters. If it was in the very rural small town that I live in, I was not being presented with a lot of diversity. Also, I was in this time in the late 90s and early 2000s when the whole punchline of a sitcom was, oh, it's gay, and that's why it's funny. And you're like, cool. That doesn't actually give me a lot of language or understanding around these very complex things of gender and sexuality, but haha, it's funny because it's gay. End of sentence. So
I tried to rewatch Friends because I had remembered in the 90s my parents and I would watch it together. I couldn't get past the first 2 episodes because there was a lot of waka waka gender dysphoria, and I was like, man, that's just not a punchline anymore, guys.
yeah,
Does not age well.
It doesn't. And I struggled because I did not, once again, I don't watch a lot of stuff. I don't consume a lot of media. This is an ongoing thing. But the conversations around different body types and body sizes and how, being heavyset was so much the punchline. And that was this, this terrifying juggernaut thing that you couldn't possibly be this is the thing I'd fear the most, is that I might possibly be in a larger size body and all of that. And it lacked a lot of nuance, and I don't, it is not a forgiving for that, but it is just, it has been interesting as newer media has a lot more nuance and has a lot more conversations around this, where I'm like, yeah, no wonder my brain was so messed up, because this is what was constantly being told to me, whereas the thing you should fear most as a female presenting person is being heavy. Do whatever you want, just don't be fat. I was like, well, that doesn't do great things for my formative brain years. That messes me up more than I realize. Okay.
Fair, valid, reasonable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But sometimes Joey is funny because he hits on women. Tee-hee.
Yeah, that also doesn't really land anymore. Like, I'm rewatching Inuyasha, which surprisingly actually holds up okay. Except Moroku. Like, all of it's generally fine, except Moroku. Because, like, I remember being a kid and being like, like, what a funny, charming character. But, like, if he was in my friend group, he would have been, like, spun kicked out of the friend group, like, so fast. Like, none of us, like, everybody would be like, no, man, you gotta cover your drink around this guy. Like, that's not, like, it's not a punchline anymore.
Yeah.
Very, very tropey of 90s anime is to have that one womanizing character. I mean, you've got Brock from the original Pokemon series, you got Master Roshi, you got Tenchi's dad.
Oh, God, Tenchi's dad was so bad. I'm like,
so bad.
You're the father figure. Stop.
Cringe. Little cringe.
No, don't.
Especially when you find out who he's related to, and you're just like, oh god, why?
Yeah.
Look, my favorite series is Slayers, and like of all time, my favorite series is Slayers, and it is a series that I only have some like, okay, before I show this to you, you need to be aware of the following things. With a lot of anime, I've got to give like that list. But like when it comes to like Slayers, I'm like there's a list, but it's not. I don't need a toilet paper roll to write it out. Like that's a step up, right? It's fine. It's cool.
It's fine.
Yeah, and there are still times where I can have my issues with certain ways that things were presented and my frustrations on it, and I can still have the the nostalgia bump and the enjoyment. And there were times where Tenchi had great storylines and characters had growth and the animation was gorgeous and all of that, and it makes me happy as a teacher who instructs like middle school and early high school kids, where while they are still being presented with so much information and have so much growth and learning to do, there's a lot more conversation that's happening, and there's a greater understanding and space for all of that to take place. And that's very encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
And, their brains rotted on the internet. It's not all bad all the time. And that's a small win that I'm very, very happy about.
I'll take that. Like, you take the wins where you get them, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and I think it's so funny to go back and watch some of this stuff with adult eyes and realize how much I was missing as a kid. Like, just it didn't faze me because it was not the thing that was important to me. Like, Dragon Ball Z had a ton of additional stuff happening, but I was just like, but then they punched each other, and that's neat. I like that. So, I wasn't really digging deep into the mythos and the interpersonal relationships of Dragon Ball Z. I was just like, yeah, and then a new guy shows up, and then he punches, and that's fun.
To be fair, that is the overall theme of Dragon Ball Z, so, I mean, that's what you watch it for.
They nailed it for me. I was like, oh, okay, show up and punch for a week. Got it. Oh, for this comment, I wish that Dralsna was on chat so that I could hear his human voice say that, because that's incredible, and I love it.
As the person who lives with him, no, you don't want to hear him say that with his human voice. He will. So, like, we will, as Josh and I are both on the same show, and we're married and live together and all of that stuff. Shocker, I know. There will be moments where he'll just drop into a character voice when we're like just like in the kitchen and I'm cutting onions, and I'm like, I need you to not, because it's always the voices I hate because he knows they get to me. It's never just like, oh, here's the voice I did for this one. No, it's always the characters that he can be the most like chew the scenery about, and I'm just like, I thought I was safe in the real world.
Oh my god, I love it so much. Okay, so said, if you want to watch a series where the main character has their lecher behavior countered and explored emotionally, check out Mushoku Tenshi, Jobless Reincarnation. Oh, so that's good. Alienation was such... Oh, I missed part of it. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I had to read and I'm good. I got this. The ghost got me. Alienation was such an issue for us in the past. Now at least we know other people are out there. For me with autism, I thought I was the only one. No, the feeling of isolation and aloneness in your personal experience, I think is a universal experience, but I feel like kids these days, there's more language, there's more words for it, and there's more representation of just different types of characters. And it is truly helping kids be able to not feel like they are wrong. And I think that serves the kids incredibly, and I think it serves the adults who didn't have that, who are now finding that. So I am so happy that it is a thing and that amazing people are continuing to make media that addresses that and not just going back to our previous ways.
No, it's phenomenal, the media that, the diversification of characters, we may still have to say this subtly because it's technically a kid's show, but we're saying it type of stuff. It's really just throwing it out there that people are different and we're representing those differences and often celebrating them because we tired of pretending there's only one set of normal guys.
Yeah. Yep. And it's truly so much more fun with all of the different not normal. Like, normal can be fine, but it can also be a little dull, a little boring.
Well, that's why sitcoms don't really, keep going. I mean, there are some long-running sitcoms, but, like, Matt and I were having this discussion about how TV has changed over the years. It used to be nothing but sitcoms like Seinfeld and Friends and this, that, and the other. And then reality TV took over because I think everybody kind of enjoyed the real life drama and the often scripted drama, but it was, a different kind of drama. Mm-hmm. And then now we've got such a diverse set of things we can choose, from fantasy to sci-fi to reality to semi-reality. I don't know, is that a genre? Like, you're aware it's scripted, the pseudo-reality TV shows, but they're funny. And then the sitcoms, like Modern Family, are so much more real than, a bunch of guys sitting on a couch and you're like, what do you guys even do for a living? Like, what is happening?
How do you afford this apartment in New York?
Yes.
And, they lazily explain it in, like, one of the last seasons, and you're just like, wait, he was rich this whole time? What? Huh?
Do we accept that? I don't know.
A little hard to believe.
Ms. Tree says, I was talking to a young friend recently and they said TikTok was her first inkling that she didn't have to mask her true self. And I agree with you. I hate to credit, TikTok, but it does it that well. And I think it's been exciting to see, kind of the adaptation of what was years and years ago, community chat groups and live journal groups and then Tumblr groups and DeviantArt groups and all these little ways that people find community. And I am excited for something like that when it breaks mainstream and, kind of gets to possibly interact with people who maybe wouldn't have come across it before. And frustrations with anything when a whole bunch of people get on and do it and sometimes ruin it. But the positives of that and that just experience, just being presented with a slightly different experience, just so nice. I like this. Reality TV is just slice of life professional wrestling. I like that.
I need y'all to understand, in the same Alex is gullible and believes pretty much anything anyone tells her. Do you have any idea how long it took me to realize that reality TV was scripted? It's that I never realized it and someone had to explain it to me when I was in my mid to late 20s. I just thought that there were just some people who were, and again, I grew up in like the weeb community where like everybody was mad at what the other person's Gaia Online avatar did. I just thought that there were people who were just that dramatic all the time. That made sense to me.
To be fair, there are some people who are just that dramatic all the time. But in general, you're not going to wind up with 7 of them living together for 8 weeks.
No.
I mean, you can, but I feel like that leads to a true crime podcast episode.
Yeah, the outcome is very different.
Yeah, if you want to control the outcome, there's going to need to be some scripting.
Otherwise, you end up on Dateline. Good Lord. I like how it's like, we're going to start talking about obscure animation studios. Now let's talk about the acceptance of neurodivergence by the modern media.
Welcome to
I've
Doodle
never
Crew.
been on this show and us continue a very light-hearted and low-stakes conversation throughout the whole thing. It's always ends up
Very
somewhere
intense.
very serious.
Mm-hmm. And I don't do it on purpose. It is not like I don't talk to the artist beforehand and be like, okay, so we're going to start with this. And then at this minute mark, it's going to go real hard. Are you ready? Nope. Nope. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So the letter that I got that said, make sure you bring your notes because there will be a test later was not you.
It was not me.
I don't know who said that to me, and I have many questions and concerns now.
I'm going to blame Anonymous Alex and the Questmaster for that because they're the only ones that I get random letters from that have very ominous statements on them.
I am so sad that I wasn't at this year's.
We missed you.
I missed you guys so much. Except apparently I was in a small container.
You were. It was quite adorable. I am constantly impressed with their ability to work around our rotating cast of people.
Well, this is the first one I've ever missed. I was one of the people who was like always there. Now I think it's just you and Steph who have the I've been at every one now.
Yeah. And she had to leave. What? She had to leave halfway through last year's?
No,
no,
it was
'cause
during
she
the
did-
stream one that we did.
Yeah.
That was how we got the idea for me to record some things, because that's what she did.
Yes. Yep. So, yeah. Crazy.
I'm determined to make it 1 year. Next year.
Yes.
Next year.
Yes.
Good
We very
job.
much want Vic at Dragon Con.
I mean, I gotta
Been
tell
saying it
you,
for 3 years now.
Guild of
Oh,
Granddaughters
God.
is my favorite thing to do at Dragon Con pretty universally, so
Yeah. No, I feel that.
hard recommend. We had somebody approach, it was me and Swan, somebody approached us after, and we did a live show for Guild of Granddaughters at Dragon Con, and they came up to us and they were like, hey, I caught this last year and it really turned my con around. I was having a horrible convention, a bunch of stuff happened, and this really like brought me back. And both me and Emily are like, thanks for coming. Like we're both like just like,
I was like, how do you expect me to be okay after that? I'm just like, oh my gosh.
it was like
"Yep,
the anime thing where we're both holding hands. We have the big like sad watery eyes.
Oh yeah,
like-
no, the wiggly waterfall of tears pouring out of our eyes.
Yeah, that was-
absolutely happening.
That was 1000% how that went down.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, it was so sweet. It just, and it's, the amount of incredible friendship and bonding that I have had the opportunity to do over the past 5 years just through TTRPG is such a highlight and joy of my life that I can't even understand. Like, it's just so amazing. And I was like, all from this silly make-believe that we do? Really? It's so good.
Yeah, there are occasional moments I look back on how rapidly everything changed after I started doing this stuff, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's only been how many years?
Now, Vic, I know you've told me, and I have regrettably forgotten. When did you get into tabletops and RPG stuff?
It was, oh my God, when? Like 2018 or something, I think it was. Um, yeah, D&D is the one I specifically got into because I had always had an interest, but never knew anything about it. Like I really truly didn't understand what a tabletop roleplay game was, like how it worked. And I got into it specifically with the intention of DMing. And as soon as somebody sort of explained it to me, and I was like, oh my God, this is all of my favorite things combined. This is perfect. How have I not done this sooner?
That's kind of delightful.
I love it so much.
Because I like to do like artworky bits for it. I like to write stories. I like to do game design and all these things that I've kind of like dabbled with in various ways my whole life. And I'm like, this is the perfect culmination of all of the things that I like to do.
Well, and I won't speak for you because it is your project, but the comic that you illustrate is inspired by some of the game that
Yeah,
you've actually played?
literally it based on it, in fact. So not just inspired by, but like it's an adaptation of that story because I'm incapable of following a source book as a DM. I just can't remember the things, and so I end up making it all up anyway. So I just made up a whole homebrew world and game to play in, and so we've ended up like this completely original world and a completely original storyline, having a lot of fun telling that story with my friends and being like, it's actually a really good story. We should do something with this. So we're starting with the comic, and then one day, obviously, one of the major studios will pick it up and we'll get an animated series. You know,
Hell yeah.
that's the plan, roughly.
Looking at you, Titmouse. You like Vox Machina so much, we got another one for you.
But I will be making this comic until the day I die because we've been playing the game for like, I think nearly 6 years at this point, and we're not done yet.
Yeah.
Which is genuinely incredible. Because I feel like the running joke in any D&D thing is that the greatest monster you'll ever face is the scheduling monster, and so to continually be able to keep a campaign going is impressive.
We did that over 2 continents. We've got 3 separate time zones. Half of the party are in England and half the party is here in America.
Yeah, Vic's playing on
The
hard
time
mode.
zones are fun.
I have trouble making it happen with people who live within an hour radius of me. So I got nothing. Well, and I will also, just because I adore your stuff so much and I can't stop, on your YouTube channel, you've created some animatics and little animations with audio from the podcast, and that are a goddamn delight, and I love so much. So absolutely check those out.
Yeah, I've got a couple other, like, those are like sound bites from the actual game that we play. So that's what the chaos sounds like in reality. But I've got a couple other sound bites, and I've got a bunch more identified to pull out from the recordings of all of our sessions to actually make more of those animatics. So hopefully I'll have more soon as well, because they're very fun to make. Because I don't have enough to do, obviously.
Mood.
Yep, I feel like that is the most artist everything of just like, but I have so many things I want to do, and I'm just gonna keep adding more things because I can't stop.
I mean, look, if I had my way and I could only do what I wanted to do, like, and I could pay my bills that way, I would just hang out and make QPR stuff. Like, that's all I'd do. Like, I'd record a bunch of extra episodes. I'd do a bunch of additional art. Like, I'd write like actual small modules to release. Like, it would be that would be what I'd do. But that's not really the kind of thing I can do and also keep my electricity on.
Yep.
It's bullshit that you can't do both of those things.
It really is. It really truly is. Now, I have said for years, like, I would be so content if my entire job was just illustrating and making comics and marketing material and sellable things for all the fan arts of all the shows that I love. I was like, that's just what I want to do. This is what I want to do with every minute of my day. Just make cool art for the amazing people I know who make content, and yeah, also be able to put food on my table. This is my very lofty goal. Someday.
One day. Somewhere
This is why
out there.
Oh, God.
Uh-huh.
Bring it back to the blue.
Always.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Apparently, Josh says they think they did research. The average group dissolves after like 8 sessions, so 6 years is absolutely. No, I think anyone who can maintain an ongoing campaign just with the scheduling part of it, but also, you know, not having the players kill each other, like genuinely impressive.
Or
we've had some like changes to the group in that time, but for the most part, the core has stayed solid, and we don't hate each other. So.
So good.
I don't know, for the most part, all of the times that I've had games completely collapse, it was either scheduling issue or like I, as the GM, wanted to strangle one particular player.
Had to do it.
Yeah, the problem was the one time. So the worst player and the worst GM I've ever had is the same guy, and he threw a huge fit. And this is a story I tell at panels a lot, but I'll cut it down and be like, but he was the guy whose house we played at.
Oh.
So when he decided he wasn't going to play anymore, I made the critical error of saying, do you think you could do this better? And he went, yeah. So everybody threw out their character sheets and pulled out new character sheets because he was the GM now.
Oh, man.
I enjoy that I can play remotely digitally now because it doesn't matter whose house it is anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, we're on session 128, I think, is our next one.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wild.
That's incredible.
How long do you guys normally play for?
It varies, but usually somewhere in between 3 and 5 hours each time.
So I'm curious along those lines because I don't know if it's just like any muscle where I'm not in the best shape for it, but I get to the like 3 to 4 hour of pretty decent like ongoing role play and my brain starts to get mushy and I'm just like, okay, I have to stop because I am not going to be nearly as funny or as able to solve any of these problems as I once was. But I don't know if that's just because I go too hard with it, which me never. No, I'm always so moderate. Or just like I don't know. my introverted side is like, we're done now. We want to go home.
Move. No, I don't know, because like I do great and can go for really long sessions if we start early in the day. It's if we have to record in the evening that I'm like, okay, so you find like a guy and he's doing something.
What do you think he's doing? You tell me. Well, and I will absolutely admit extreme jealousy, and it was just a truly unfortunate series of events where the ghosts were only in my house at the time, but I have heard from friends who got to play in a campaign with Vic as GM that they are still raving about and I'm still hearing about, and the fact that I was not able to play that night like is a source of great sadness to me. So I'm going to rectify that and fix it and make it happen at some point in my future.
We will do the follow-up soon, definitely.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I finished this much faster than I thought I would.
That's so fun though. Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna give us a little bit of grace because we had just so many technical issues. But say maybe in the like next 10 minutes get to a place where you could could be ready for show and tell.
I am so glad I did the sketch ahead of time. I am so glad.
So Ms. True is saying, I'm in 2 groups that have been going weekly online for 4 years. A few cast changes, but miraculously few. That's also impressive. That's very cool. And it's very funny to me now because I only within the last year and a half did I start to have in-person games again. One of them is traditional D&D and one of them is World of Darkness. But for the huge chunk of time before that, the only D&D and TTRPG I was playing was all virtual. So I got very comfortable with just being on a Zoom call or stuff like that. And so it was funny in person. I was like, oh yeah, it's very easy to see the person making a face next to you and know that they're about to say something. I'm like, oh, but even with that, I am constantly impressed with the groups that we play with and the ability to not only leave space for each other, but make internet lags or, recording an episode so that we're trying to keep our audio tracks nice. The way that people leave space for each other and want to play friendly in the space has just been so cool and so rewarding. We got friendship.
Friendship.
The power of friendship.
You know what? I'm on a time limit. I'm just gonna cheat. I'm just gonna go over here and I'm just gonna color pull from the reference I got.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do that because I cannot match colors to save my whole life.
What? A colorful shadow? Who could that be? Oh my goodness. So when does the new season of Arcane actually drop?
November 9th.
Oh, so very soon.
I've been waiting for 3 years.
Oh, jeez.
Has it really
So
been that
ready.
long?
Yep.
I'm trying to remember, when did that series first come out?
2021.
Was it 21? Okay, I was gonna say it felt pandemic to me, but that I remember that year seeing so many Jinx cosplays at Dragon Con, so I was like, well, no, it was when I was in person, but that makes sense.
They spent 6 years on making the first series.
Oh my gosh.
So 3 years is pretty good by comparison.
Yeah.
Remembering things in the pandemic is kind of a fever dream because do we all remember that we got really obsessed about a roadside wildlife attraction for a full unbroken year? We all remember that? We were really, really dedicated to figuring out the Carol Baskins mystery on that one.
Oh, the Tiger King thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just
The only thing I remember was I was always really distressed that it looked like his eyebrow piercing is hanging on for its dear life. And it was always very distracting to me.
yeah.
That's all I remember.
Yeah, that man caused me a lot of distress.
I have wonderful news for you. You're not alone.
Oh.
That was the year I was very, very unemployed, so I spent a lot of time watching a lot of TV, and I sort of lost track of what I ended up consuming, but the Tiger King definitely stands out as a particular fever dream amongst the chaos.
Well, because we were all watching it and no one remembers anything. Everyone just remembers Carol Baskin and somebody's arm got ripped off, and how weird Joe Exotic is. That's all anyone remembers.
And that one kid who shot himself in the head.
Yes, that was also that was a part I think I was blocking until just now. Yes, that
So
also
sorry.
is a thing.
How
No, you're
much
correct.
how much the creepy ponytail guy is absolutely a cult, and everyone was just like, I'm sorry, I can only handle one insane tiger man at a time, so we're just gonna push this other insane tiger man off to the side. And you're like, I have questions though still.
I
Ugh.
I'm kind of in love with the fact that we've reached the zenith of, if he manages a tiger, like a tiger roadside attraction, that's a red flag. Like, we've all collectively agreed.
Shockingly.
Oh my god, just craziness. Absolute craziness. Yeah, Miss Tree, we got the last unicorn, which, very funny enough, absolutely kickstarted some of the chaos into the deep dive of all of the really interesting animation that we have consumed over the years.
Whether or not we should have.
Yep. Yeah. Just do that.
But like, I keep like looking at this like face, and because the screenshot that I'm color dropping from is literally from the scene where she screams, I can feel this body dying all around me. And it's like, that was too much for child me.
Yeah.
That was more.
Doing too much. Rankin Bass, you're just doing too much.
I mean, I think it's the same color, is it? Oh no, it's slightly pinker.
A bean.
That's so charming. He's just a little lad. He's just
Oh
a
my
wee
goodness.
gentleman.
This is a tiny
this
sneak preview of a
distinguished
project
gentleman.
I'm working on at the moment. So
A bean project?
A little gentleman.
not exclusive, but very much in development stage currently. So
Much excite.
Oh, I just spilled coffee on my. Hold
Oh,
on. It's okay.
wow.
It's just a drop.
Yeah, that kind of. Sure. You know what? Sure. I'm fine with that.
Oh, we're gonna do this 'cause that's what we can. Ah, now for my favorite part. Coloring the hair that I decided has to be a third of this whole image. Could I just lose the lasso tool? Yes. Is that for quitters? Also, yes.
Also, yes. Hey, you know what? Sometimes a cool part about being an artist is I get to not only draw my own coloring page, I then get to color it. So, I'm gonna sit
And
here and
having drawn Amalthea a couple years ago, I feel your pain, Alex. It's
There's
a
so
lot of
much hair!
So much. I'm like, no, we're good. And then about halfway through the hair, I'm like, I really hate this. I love how it's turning out, but I really hate this.
And it's also swirly. It's so
Very
swirly.
So gorgeous.
But like, you can't have like someone doing the how dare you come to me now, why didn't you come to me when I was one of those maidens, like why didn't, and then like have her be comforted by like Schmendrick the terrible magician. Like that's there's a tonal shift between that and Booby Tree that I feel like don't belong in the same 1 hour and 20-minute film.
Oh, she cannot have you. What does she call her? Hussy? The
Yes.
Hussy. I'm sorry, that was one of my favorite. It comes out of nowhere. It makes zero sense, but it's so memorable. It's one of my favorite scenes.
No, I love it. admittedly, still to this day, I have never seen The Last Unicorn, which is totally on me. I know. I need to fix this. But
Same here.
No, I'm calling dibs. I'm calling dibs on being able to be with you when you're watching it so I can look at your face.
I will hand you the Blu-ray in a month.
Yes.
And you can watch it.
Okay. I will promise to take pictures and live react as I do it.
I'm just saying Zoom call. We could
Also
do
Zoom
like
call.
a Discord call and like hang out, and I can just stare at your face while you watch it.
That is totally fine. I'm good with that. But along the lines of just the random quotes that pop into my head, I literally sent a message to poor Steph, who we were talking about earlier, because we both really like Knight's Tale, the movie, and because I genuinely woke up in the morning going, "Cockadoodle thrice," he said, and he wasn't. I'm like, why is that the first thought in your head this moment when you woke up in the morning? And I'm just like, and I had to send it to her. She's like, "So what's going on?" I was like, "Okay, so it's this and this." She's like, "Oh my God, I do remember that from the movie." I'm like, thank God, because if not, I'm just an island out here. Oh no.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I cannot, like, when somebody's like, "Oh, what are you up to?" And they're like, "Oh, nothing." I cannot not hear in my head, "Nothing? Tra-la-la."
Oh my God.
That was a movie that was better than it had any right to be, but was also like really weird. Like some of the choices that they made, I was like, I mean, it works, but like, how did you know it would?
Choices were made, yes. And somehow it came together in a beautiful, messy cult favorite for the ages.
Oh, so good. That's so good. All right.
Things that live rent-free in our heads, guys.
Certainly not the algebra that we learned.
Yeah. Oh, that algebra that we were supposed to use every day without a calculator in our pockets. That algebra in particular.
Joke's on you. I now have the calculator in my pocket, and I still don't do algebra. So there.
Get wrecked, Mrs. Dunbar.
I remember asking my maths teacher about when am I ever use trigonometry in the real world, and he looked me dead in the eye and he was like, "Well, if you ever need to measure the height of a tree," and I just walked away from that conversation. It's like, no, I'm sorry, no.
No. You know what?
Oh, that reminds me. There's an oak tree in my backyard, Vic. Do you think you could?
Sadly, I don't remember my trigonometry, so no.
I always feel bad when teachers are asked that, because it feels a lot like, "Hey, teach, justify your position to me." And it's like, come on, man. Look, I'm teaching you trigonometry because you have to learn it to pass. All right, what do you want from me?
Yeah, in order to accomplish this like degree that has been set forth by our state, I have to teach you these things, and you have to show me proficiency in it. I'm sorry.
Like, when am I going to use this in real life? You might never, but you will need to use this degree likely.
Yeah.
Very likely.
Yeah. All right.
I am still searching for the perfect Procreate inking pen. And I keep finding ones, they're like a tutorial to make the best inking pen. And I'm like, no, this is
I just modified the
What do you look for?
studio pen.
I just recently modified the script pen, and that's been helpful. But like, I don't know what it is. I think I might just be searching for, no joke intended, a unicorn. Like, I might just be trying to find a pen that doesn't exist.
Yep.
Is there a shape or a feel?
I want it to be tapered. I want it to have really, really, really good like weight variation. And I want it to flow correctly. And I don't think I've figured out how much stabilization that is.
I have had a fight with stabilization because I realize the stabilization that I want when I'm doing my sketch layer is far, far different than I want stabilization for my inking layer. So I think the let me look it up so I can tell you the correct thing. Is the Jing sketch brushes are ones that I got, and there's a clean sketch and a sketch round, and both of those were like, it was the closest that I'd ever gotten to how I sketch either in Clip Studio or in my actual sketchbook, but it did take some tweaking on that. Like coloring wise, I'm still it's a crapshoot. I go all over with different brushes and everything, but my goal was always to find. I was like, I need the really good sketching brush so I can keep the looseness and the liveliness of it, but then I need one that stabilizes so that my ink lines don't look like a maniac worked on them.
Yep, that is. Honestly, also, I need to start going back to doing more traditional and stop doing almost exclusively digital, because I found myself trying to zoom on paper and trying to double tap undo on paper. And I was just sitting there staring at it like I've become like the Gen Alpha tablet kid in my 30s.
Yep.
I did that on a Post-it the other day.
Oh gosh. You know, that I've always thought it was a joke until I tried sketching after I'd been working almost exclusively digitally for a while. And I was doing a sketch and I'm like, I don't know, does that look right? Wait. Oh, are you kidding me? I just did it.
Yep, the number of times where I've been working on like a 6x9 like marker rendering thing, and I was like, man, I just want to be able to zoom in to do the details, and I'm like, you can't. That's not how this works. I'm just like, oh no.
Oh.
Though that all being said, the guy who came up to me one time when I was drawing and said, "So can you like actually draw, or do you only do digital?" He go fuck himself. Like, I did like the slow look up, like,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well,
I don't know how to respond to this.
There is no response. It's the, why would you go to college to get an animation degree when you could just open up the computer and hit the do animation button? They're like, yeah, that's what I do. I just go on the computer and then it animates for me.
To be fair, it's like they thought that's how it worked before, the whole generative AI thing, where that is technically how it works.
Yeah.
So, but no, you actually, if you do digital art, you actually have to have some skills. You have to learn the software, and a lot of us like to have our custom brushes that, and build them when we can't find one that works.
I make a lot of custom brushes, or like just
paints.
Yeah.
You're saying custom brushes?
Yeah, I make a bunch of them. Some of them are like hybrids of ones that I've found somewhere else, and some of them are completely from scratch. So like I made a set in Photoshop years ago that translated ish okay, which was like a sort of this smoky shady brush for cloudy look, a sort of soft marker kind of brush.
I might need to see if you can send that to me. So I was gonna say earlier, in Clip Studio there's a brush that I downloaded called Zero that I love because it's kind of like a felt tip pen almost, and I love to ink with it because it's got just a little bit of variation, but it does great taper and all this, and I have been searching to find a counterpart to it that I can use in Procreate, because like I've gotten really close on a bunch of them, but they're just not quite the same. And that was
what I was trying for with this.
Yeah, no, that's
but it's
so nice.
It wound up being like, if I zoom in, you'll see it's like the edges of it are incredibly sharp. So although it's like an overall soft shape, it ends up being a little bit sharper than I ideally want. Like I kind of want a bit more blur at the edge of the line work. So I just need to tinker with it from that perspective, because it translated a bit different over into Procreate. But as soon as I get that tidied up, I'll send it over to you. But I've got a bunch of random brushes. If you want to draw like a city, a fantasy city, you can. But like that was from a particular page of my comic where I was spending 1,000 years drawing like a high up level look at a cityscape. What else have we got? A pumpkin brush.
That reminds me, there's Oh my gosh, pumpkins.
That was from a D&D Beyond comic. Like I had to do a pumpkin patch, and I just wanted to do. So if you select like an orange in color, you can kind of
Oh my god, I love
for
Perfect.
like background.
Oh, I love the variation.
Yes.
Um, some vines. So like
Oh,
I needed
love
to look like
that.
vines. I didn't want to draw down leaves.
No, no. If I never have to draw individual ivy leaves again, I will be a happy artist. Oh,
I got
Oh,
my
I love
hands on a
that.
couple of foliage brushes, and I'm like, do not take these away from me. Ever.
Nope.
Oh, I found a Ghibli set for foliage and grass, and while I haven't quite got it to work for like trees or something, I'm still hand drawing stuff like that. But if you want a field, especially with flowers, it's perfect.
Yes. I love it.
Chainmail.
Oh, chainmail.
Oh,
Because ain't nobody got
I
time
can
for that.
just.
ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
I can't find it, of course, when I go to look for it, but there is an artist on Instagram that just makes me want to lay my head on the table every time I see one of his reels because he'll be like, let's do a city real fast. And he does this beautiful square brushes and he just like makes some skyscrapers and then like he makes little
Oh, that
windows and then
guy.
like in 5
I know
minutes
who we're
you're
talking
like,
about.
seriously?
Mm-hmm.
You just did
You
that.
just,
You just
yeah,
did
just
that
some,
right in front of me. How dare
just some
you?
squares.
Step
Like,
one,
what?
open a canvas. Step two, paint a masterpiece.
Yep.
Yeah,
Draw the
just
rest of the
like,
fucking owl. And you're like, wait, no, there was something else in
but
between that I missed.
But what's crazy
Break it
is
down.
I applied some of his principles to a piece I just did, and I'm even madder because it worked. I'm like, here's some squares and some rectangles, and we make it glow, and dag nabbit, it
Dang it.
works.
Dang it.
This was a brush I made for my comic, like when I have like magic effects and like runes. So like they'll sort of appear in the air, and then I make them glow
Ooh.
or something.
Oh my
That's
god.
neat.
Oh, I
It's
love
so pretty.
scatter.
It's so
Oh,
pretty.
where's the? I made a
I've got to
skull
learn how to
brush
do this to
somewhere.
make my life easier, so I'm not sitting there doing little all the time.
Oh yeah.
No, Mystery, I think the ones we have a save your art one, which I think is only going to apply to me today because everybody else gets autosave, and a hydrate yourself, which I have very
Oh,
nearly finished all of my coffee. So
Ah, yes, coffee, the most hydrating beverage that
the most.
exists.
mine is empty. I make cut back to water without the bean juice.
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, I think once again, I think Vic, we just need to hang out sometime and just talk about brushes. Oh wait, I could do
Yeah.
that when I come to one of your Twitch streams.
There we go. Perfect. And also I have like you can actually import Photoshop brushes into Procreate. They just don't always import perfectly. So like because the controls of how they're designed differ, that's a thing, but you can import them. And that's how I got my custom brushes into Procreate because I have a set of them. There's just 4 in there and they're actually on my Gumroad stores, which they're free to download. So if you want them, just like grab them. But I'm also specifically trying to tidy them up in Procreate. Then I will create a Procreate version.
Nice. Well, hey,
Nice.
I'm gonna absolutely segue the heck out of that. If people want to find you and follow you and support your art and read your things and listen to you do D&D and all of these things, how can they do that? Where can they find you? And then I want to see your artwork.
I'm on most of the internet at idstar. I'm at Vic Idstar on TikTok because someone got the username before me. Y'all have heard me say this enough times by this point, I'm sure. You can, I have idstar.com is a hub to find most things, but I've also got my link tree to all my links on most of my social channels as well. So I'm on Instagram, I am still on Twitter, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on most of them to varying degrees. So you can usually find all of my stuff from there. I encourage you to go check out my comic of Destiny and Dragoons at dragoons.com. Which is the story of the D&D game I've been playing for years, adapted for comic purposes. And it's a really fun sort of standard D&D hijinks, but its own unique story, sort of different from existing D&D stuff, and I'll be making it for the rest of my days, which means it's like one of those cool, long, slow burn total stories. So it's a good time to get into it because it's not going to like just drop off and disappear and like run out. And I'm hop aboard now is the thing. But I also have links to my store on my Linktree and on my website as well. You can find that, and I've got a bunch of free download stuff in there. Actually, some comic templates, I think some textures, like paper texture stuff.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's rad as heck. Oh, also look at this beautiful picture. I say, no, I want this one. I want the big. Oh, okay, fine. Don't do the big one then. That's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Okay.
That's such a powerful energy too.
It is. I love it.
I love it.
I went through about 3 poses before I landed on this one, but
but
this will do.
So
Double
cool.
bird, love it.
Yes. So remind, we'll say the audience, because that's the easiest way. What is your studio? What is their name?
The studio I've chosen is Fortiche, which you can see in the background if I toggle off the kind of lighting layer, the color layer there. The French animation studio hired by the video game company Riot that produces the original League of Legends game. And Fortiche is the company that animates the Arcane animated show. Season 1 is already on Netflix. Season 2 dropping on, the first part of it dropping November 9th. And I've never been obsessed with anything more in my entire life, and I recommend everybody check it out. But do so like when you're in an emotionally stable place, because it can get quite heavy. Just fair warning. And this is one of the main characters from that show called Vi.
Heck
and this
yeah.
is, I don't know much about how she appears in season 2, but this is a season 2 look.
I love it so much. No, I want this sticker to just stick on things because it is a whole mood, and I love it. Yay! Awesome. All right, Megan, I'm going to you next.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Megan, and the only promo I want to self-plug real fast is I do have a Halloween sale going on Etsy. Megan C Creates at Etsy. Well, I guess it's .etsy.com is technically the link. Anyway, 25% off for any 2 items in the shop, and I just dropped a new collection yesterday full of kitty cats and mushrooms. It's super cute. So check it out if you're able. And this is my piece as far as I got.
Look at that.
That's so
Literally just
delightful.
inked for 2 hours.
No, I love it though. Even just seeing like the rough pose that you had laid in, like I already loved it. So it's so fun.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yay! And to reminder again, because we're gonna do it. What is the studio?
So it's Toei Animation did the first season, and that's as far as I got in my research. So that's what I'm going with.
Hey, I like it. That's enough. That fulfilled the brief. There was no other information required. So hey, you know what, kids at home, you have the internet. You can go look up more if you're curious. Toei does other stuff. They've made many in animation, so there you go.
They have.
Oh, I love it. I am excited to see it colored. Yay! All right. After much ado and so many
this feels like pencils down.
So many ghosts. I just want to take a moment and say thank you so much to Alex for joining us. Thank you for persevering through literally the worst technical difficulties, and hanging out with us and joining us for Doodle Crew. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for being patient with all of this ghost stuff that I had to deal with. I appreciate you, and I had so much fun being here.
So where can people find you, listen to your wonderful voice, hear you doing all things D&D and other wonderful stuff?
So if you ever want to confront me in public and potentially fight me behind a Denny's, you can find me in Richmond, Virginia at Alpha Comics and Games and Richmond Comics. I also am the GM of the narrative play podcast Quid Pro Roll, which again was a very serious campaign about dragons, and then my players happened. It is my precious work and my precious boys, and I love them very much. I am also getting to guest GM with Dungeons and Drakenbeams, doing a second Song of Sugar and Snow. So if you want to hear my magnum opus, which is a Let's Save Santa storyline, I wasn't aware that that was going to be my world's greatest work. But you can find the first song of Sugar and Snow at Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
But also, Quid Pro Roll, the place where I normally am, usually.
Heck yeah. And look at your beautiful piece. Look at all that hair.
Amazing.
All right, I was able to block in the hair, and that's like, I was sitting there like, no, don't take pencils down. I was like, no, there's no dimension. This is my piece of Lady Amalthea and the unicorn that becomes Lady Amalthea from Rankin Studios, a, I think now defunct studio that, well, mostly known for its Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer not live action, but stop motion special that they did. See how I tied that into Song of Sugar and Snow?
Yeah.
It also had some of my favorite animated movies growing up, which was like, The Hobbit, The Return of the King, and of course, The Last Unicorn, despite the fact that it is an existential gut punch that no child should have to watch.
So good. Oh, I love it so much. I'm so happy you're here. I've been actively petitioning and working to get Alex on the show. So I'm very, very happy we finally made it happen, and we'll henceforth be wanting more of it. So yeah. Now we've proved we can make it work. So now I have to have more.
I don't know why it's working now. I've done nothing different. I just kept rebooting it.
If that's not the most why is tech ever, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. All right. So here's my piece. I did Coraline from Laika Studios. So I've got Coraline and her kitty cat because I like kitty cats.
I love that effect with the flashlight. That's so good.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
I had one idea in my head and I was not going to deviate from it. So here we are.
Brava.
Thank you. I love Coraline. It's super, super fun. I will probably be watching it again this spooky season. So hopefully maybe making some more Coraline art because it's super fun. Yeah, she's a little scamp, and I like that. I like that about her. It's very, very fun. But yeah, you can find me all across the internet at a swan named Emily. I make art, I do podcasts, I'm all over the place. If you want to listen to me read Animorphs, I'm on Animorphs Anonymous right now, reading through the Animorphs series for the first time. If you want to listen to me play D&D, I have guested on Dungeons and Dracon Beams. I was not in Sugar and Snow, but I was in the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, so you can listen to me there. You can also currently listen to me guesting on the Late Starters Pokemon TTRPG podcast, which is super fun, and I love my character very, very much. Her name is Nova, and I've also been making tons of fan art about her because I cannot be stopped. If you would like to get stickers from me, you can find me in person next month at my local Comic-Con, which is very exciting, or you can go to my Etsy shop and find them there. You can also support me on Patreon, where I will make custom stickers for you every couple of months. So that's a thing. I think that's most of the stuff. I have many places where you can find me pretty much if you want to find a swan named Emily. I have usually tried to grab the username. But yeah, this was so much fun. Thank you, everyone. I'm so happy that despite everything and all of the trying to make it not work, we made it through. We did it. We had a whole ass episode. We did. I'm so happy. But this was wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone who hung out in the chat and chatted with us. Went through the exciting, beginning, middle, and end, just like a Don Bluth movie where it got real dark in the middle. But hey, we ended on a happy note, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.